Hello and welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast for the week of September 2nd, 2020. I am Leanna Hafer. You may have previously known me as TJ, and if you want more info, go check my pinned tweet. Don't have time for it here. We also have with us today our amazing panel, including Rose.
Hello.
Including Lambert.
Hello there.
And including Father Loris.
Hello. Hi.
And our special guest this week to join us to gush about Crusader Kings 3, One Proud Bavarian.
Hello there.
So usually what we do when we have a guest on for the first time is we just kind of ask you who you are, what you make, and how you got into grand strategy. So go right ahead.
Right, so I have a YouTube channel, and on that YouTube channel I play Crusader Kings 2. Well, I did until I got Crusader Kings 3 and then got really sick of Crusader Kings 2. Now it's all about Crusader Kings 3, and I mostly do edited stuff, talking about dev diaries and whatnot. I got into grand strategy actually because there was this, these computer magazines back in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
There was a demo disc in there, and sometimes they contained full games, and this one contained Hearts of Iron 2 Doomsday, and that's how I got into it. That's where I started out.
That's how I got into Age of Empires way back in the day. There was a demo for Age of Empires 2, Age of Kings. It had one skirmish map. I played that skirmish map so many times until my parents actually bought me the game.
Yeah,
great.
I remember that. I got it on like a sort of CD. Like it was a CD demo, right? I'm pretty sure I played that over at a friend's house. Because he used to have a collection of all these demos along with his myriad of AOL discs that he also had next to his.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of those. I remember on that CD there was also a house planner where you could move furniture around and move walls around. But like a 2D Sims without the Sims. Yeah, but it had no people in it. It was just room planning. Why?
I remember that one actually.
We may have had the same disc.
Yeah, honestly, it rings a bell, but I might just be thinking of The Sims.
It was green. That's all. That's it. I'm out of information about this this 20-year-old demo.
Yeah, I miss the old PC Gamer demo discs that came with the physical magazines. Those were always fun.
Yeah. Same. A lot
Do you actually still have? Sorry.
A lot of gaming magazines used to do that, right? Too. Like you used to get the old PlayStation ones too, which were great.
Do you actually still have a drive?
In a drawer somewhere.
I have a CD drive on my old tower that I don't use as much anymore, but I don't think it actually works, and I haven't used it in like 5 years. So,
I think my husband's laptop has a CD drive, but mine does. My computer does not.
This is the first time I haven't noticed I haven't got a CD drive. Now you mentioned it. I bought this laptop a couple of months ago, and I've just checked if it's got a CD drive now. It doesn't.
You just don't use it anymore. It's just, nobody has any CDs anymore.
No.
I had a CD drive in my old PC because it was one of those pre-built ones, and it just comes with it because that's where they put the OS on. And I kept it, but like it's not in its case anymore. I just kept the CD drive bit, and it's just in a drawer somewhere. So if I need it at any point, I've got one that I'll just plug in at the side. It's fine.
Do you think they'll come back? Like record players have come back. Like in 50 years, people will be like, "Oh, I love a CD," or "I love BBC micro tape or something, or a floppy disk." It just plays
I love
games
not
better,
storing
in my
anything.
Yeah,
I mean, I still have like my old Age of Empires 3 and 2 discs. I think I just have a couple of the Sims ones.
Oh yeah,
I think they're in a bin in my closet here.
Yeah,
so the oldest one I have, I think, is the original Shogun Total War, which came on like 3 or 4 discs or something like that at the time, because 700 megabytes was an insane size for a video game in 2000. I still have those.
I think I've lost a lot of my CDs, but I've kept all my manuals. My Civ 4 manual is still on my bookshelf.
I no longer live in the country where I had most of my CDs. Like when I moved to Finland, CDs were already a thing of the past. But I do remember the first time that my parents came to visit me in Finland. They brought me this CD of a PC game I had no clue about. I was like, "Oh, you forgot this." I'm like, "What is it?" some strategy game, I think. I don't even know. But yeah, it's still in a drawer somewhere. I didn't throw it away. Might try and find it for some point.
So Bavarian, what do you play mostly these days? You told us you kind of started with Hoi 2.
Yeah, I mean, these days when it comes to games, mostly, of course, Crusader Kings 3. I can't let go of that game. I've played far too much already.
What's Crusader Kings 3?
It's a game that has come out very recently. If I'm not wrong,
that's why we haven't heard of it. It's only recent. Must have been one of them.
It's very underground.
Actually, talk about CDs on this podcast.
It's a game that just came out and that is absolutely amazing. You should definitely check it out if you haven't heard of it.
So why is it so good?
Well, I mean, so from my position, Crusader Kings 3 is really everything that I was hoping for. So, I'm really radical when it comes to what I want from a game, especially from a sequel that is building up on a game that has had 8 years of, post-release support. If you're the developer and you want to do me a favor, rip everything out that is garbage. Rip out Merchant Republics, for example, Nomads. And I know not everybody agrees.
Ooh, hello there.
The way I see it,
Nomads were so broken.
Take them out.
I don't care for Nomads, but Merchant Republics, garbage? God, no. They were so fun.
I didn't like them. I didn't like the gameplay at all.
They were fun, but they got boring so quickly. They needed more depth.
Yeah. They needed better mechanics.
The way I think I described it on 3 Moves Ahead a long time ago, I think it was when we were talking about Horse Lords, is that it felt like the game had just been like professionally modded to include these things that it wasn't really set up for. So what I'm hoping is that, yes, I'm glad they took them out of the base game for CK3. I hope that they have built a foundation on which they can reintroduce them later and actually do them properly.
That's actually something I was talking to Black Ninja about back at PDXCon. Because it's a big deal. Nomads and Merchant Republics weren't in. And he was explaining basically how Nomads broke CK2 because the way the holdings were designed. Nomads were not supposed to use them, but they were there. And it was a mess of code, apparently. Not to mention...
It was all hacked in. It was all hacked into the UI and into the systems,
Yes.
None of it was supposed to work like that for sure.
But the way they've done CK3, especially with all the baronies visible on the map,
even if they've got no holdings in them.
Yes, even if they've got no holdings in them, they're still there. You can still march across them. They're still grazing land.
Yeah.
Val says in chat, Imperial government should be done first, and I fully agree with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Roman Empire needs its government.
Yeah.
My order of priority for my wishes would be Imperial government, Nomads, and then maybe Merchant Republics.
I mean, mine would be Roman Imperial government, and then Tibet. Also, I want the Silk Roads and stuff back, trades and stuff. Ideally, I want to have. I want trade and stuff to be implemented before Merchant Republics because I think the best thing that happened to Merchant Republics was the synergy between the Silk Road stuff that was added far later on down the line and the original Merchant Republic mechanics.
That was something he mentioned as well, that they're looking at doing something more along the lines of the Silk Road for Merchant Republics.
That's perfect. That's all I've dreamed of, basically, because
I love the Silk Road mechanic. Taking inspiration from how trade is in EU.
Yes. Yeah, that would be brilliant. Basically, I would love that.
I'm honestly not sure though that is coming anytime soon. I remember like Ninja also, and it's an offhand comment, so like obviously it doesn't mean anything. But I remember him saying that his personal preference when it comes to post-release support would be more fleshed out roleplay, and that's great. I don't disagree at all with that, but I don't actually ever play in the Byzantine Empire. But right now they are so strong because they have no imperial government and nothing is happening there. I actually kind of want the imperial government more than anything else because they just go around and destroy everything.
Yeah, I've seen them blob in every 867 game I've played. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I believe you have an image here which I'm going to share.
I did a a time lapse of the game from 867 to 1867, so 1,000 years. And the Byzantine Empire blobbed horribly, even worse than that, way worse than that. But then the Abbasids turned into a new dynasty and very much ruined their entire existence. They didn't stay on top for very long, let's put it that way. You can tell, especially when you're doing a time lapse, the frequency at which the Romans got revolts and rebellions is very, very high compared to any other country that I saw, at least. So I guess that's sort of a little bit of a balance to it, but maybe it doesn't happen every time.
Yeah, they need more internal conflict, so they're too busy fighting each other to expand across the entire map like that, which I'm hoping will come with Legacy of Rome 2 or whatever they call it.
Oh, Stoffer in chat there.
Time lapse that Lambert was talking about. And here we see the Byzantines blobbing.
Oh, yeah. It's very cool. I'm like, yay. And I feel really bad for the people watching who are Byzantophiles because they're like, yes, Byzantium's doing really well in this game. And then the Yeserids are like, no, they're not.
I see Bavarian's alive.
Bavaria is often
did well.
Like owning all of Germany.
Oh, they're in a Yasserid sandwich.
Yeah.
When the nomads get added, it'll stop Byzantium expanding into the steppes, which just seems to be their main
way
they seem to go at the moment, right?
The idea that they could just blob out into like Central Asia and like implement administrative divisions in like a part of the world where there's like no infrastructure for it whatsoever. We should probably have a way to model why that wouldn't be a good idea.
You're saying the imperial system of Byzantium, the bureaucracy stuff, is not ideally suited to nomadic steppes and maintaining control over that.
Right.
Stoffer in chat there is saying, funny you should mention that. I just got invaded by 15,000 Byzantines 5 minutes ago. That happened to me in my stream yesterday. I was going for the war against Lotharingia for a single county in England, Suffolk. This was the second war, and I declared war on Lotharingia, who were pretty big. They owned most of Germany. He had no allies. I had Sweden on my side. I had Norway on my side. I was feeling strong. I sieged Suffolk, and then off my coasts was about 13,000 Byzantines, and I'm like, looks like we're going to need a third war for Suffolk then.
Yeah, I did it.
That's a problem with the rule setting. The normal rule setting makes it so that you have the North Sea blobs everywhere, where Lapland is going around in Ireland and doing the thing, Sweden down in Iberia.
Yeah. And
the Byzantines are married to everybody in Northern and Western Europe. If you set it to restricted, it gets a bit better, but I think that is a general problem. And I also want to add on to the steppe topic. I think the steppes actually are long-term their own problem because they all go feudal. And I don't feel like that's right. I feel like there should be some more maybe long-term rewarding tribal gameplay because in 1453, everybody is just feudal on the map. And I don't think that, you have these two phases in the game until like 1250, where then everybody gets primogeniture. And that's when the empires start to rise up. Before that, it's nice. Yeah. They completely rise and fall. But after that, everybody, including the steppes, just goes, okay, we are an empire. We're an empire now. And I think that should be addressed as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've even thought that about EU4 in the past, where it's like there should be some incentive to like stay as a horde if you want to do it that way. I guess EU4 is like, it's a little different because there were a lot of modern nation states forming in that area at the time, but definitely in CK3 when they decide to do nomads, which come on, they're gonna do it eventually.
See, what I want as a nomad mechanic, I like
the
big important one for me is when they were collecting tributes, they did it on like set days, and they would send the horde to go collect a tribute. And I want to do that. Like, if I subjugate Russians, I want to turn up at that street and get my big pile of gold in a big lump sum, and it would feel amazing, right? When you do that, right?
That's something I've thought about most Paradox games. Not Stellaris, because that doesn't really work for that. But taxes aren't just a monthly drip in, or it should be a case of every year or every 2 years, depending. It could be based on government type. Every so often, you just get a big lump sum of cash. and then it's up to you as the players, the ruler of this country, to spend that sparingly so that you have enough to last until the next time you get taxes.
Yeah.
That would add such a interesting dynamic, I think, to, do I spend it all right now because it's burning a hole in my vault, or am I sparing with it? How much do I save? I think it'd be super interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be too micromanagey, but it would be interesting if there was something where like, oh, we need some extra money. We need to go send some tax collectors with swords out into the countryside to get some extra sheaves or something, because we really need extra money for war, but then it upsets everybody. Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think that would actually run into the same criticism as Mana and Imperator Rome, where the criticism was that you essentially sit there and wait until you get to a certain point where you can invest all of it, where you have the lump sum that you need. And I feel like people would say, hey, if this happens once a year, I'm going to, do this, and then I'm going to wait for 12 months. Why is this the way it is? Yeah. I feel like people would I'm not saying it's a bad mechanic, but I feel like they wouldn't be happy about it.
Yeah.
Well, people will spend the money like they do in real life, like splurge it on something really big, and then, eat rice for the rest of the month. Like I do with all my paychecks.
I think it'd be interesting. I'd like to see a mod try that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we have a lot to say about CK3, obviously, and that's going to be our main topic for this week. But we do have a couple other dev diaries to go over. There was a Stellaris dev diary, actually, about threading and optimization that came out right after our episode last week, which, by the way, will be up on SoundCloud today, I promise, those of you that have been asking.
And YouTube videos are going up, folks.
Yes.
No, that's heresy.
Wow.
Rose has proven herself the savior of the show once again and has started uploading the episodes to YouTube because it became clear that I was never going to do it. So
yes.
Big shout out. Thank you for taking that upon yourself.
I think we've got how many up? There's 5 of them up right now. There was one up from 8 months ago. But there's 4 more now.
I uploaded the
there's
first
5
one.
more in the list to go up. So yeah.
But yeah, Stellaris, which has had let's say some performance issues over the course of the last few patch cycles. And as you can see here, of course, the main moral choice Paradox is facing right now is whether to make Victoria 3 or to optimize Stellaris. That's basically what they wake up every day to, I'm sure.
I think they clicked the wrong button.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of. This is a more technical one. It's not really a feature-y dev diary. It goes over some of the technical challenges they're facing, why Stellaris has these challenges with performance that I'm sure we're all familiar with if you've played into the late game anytime recently. I think it's better now than it was like a year ago, but yeah. Was there anything in particular that stuck out to you guys about this diary?
Victoria 3 confirmed.
Yeah.
Wiz is making that, right?
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope so, but probably not.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't read that one yet. So I don't really...
Yeah, I mean, I skimmed over it. I mean, I definitely... I can see why it's challenging. With, like, the amount of stuff that's going on in late game Stellaris, it almost seems like there's never going to be a good solution, and I've heard them mention in the past that maybe they will look at doing a sequel to Stellaris a little bit earlier than they have with some of their other games, which might honestly be the best way to solve this problem. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give it a whole new engine.
I'm all for Stellaris too, whenever they want to give it to us.
It's certainly the thing that Stellaris needs, isn't it? Optimization. I mean, more than any more content, it really does need to run a lot better in the late game.
I feel like fleets and fleet battles would be way more interesting if the amount of ships you had in the late game was cut down to like 20, like maximum 20. Just not have these gargantuan fleets of hundreds upon hundreds of ships. Because you can't even look at them fighting. Because in the late game, you're going at like a day every 10 seconds, and it's pretty screenshots. Your slideshows are cool.
You're just following an individual torpedo for like 20 minutes while it makes its way across the star field. Yeah.
Well, not even that. While it sort of teleports bit by bit across the star field, you know.
Yeah.
If you've ever played Battlefleet Gothic Armada, that's what I want Stellaris combat to look like. You don't even have to individually control ships. I just want it to look like that. It's bloody gorgeous.
I could see it being more based around like a smaller number of capital ships, and then maybe they would have like escorts as an add-on or something instead of having like 350 individual frigates. Like, I don't know. I understand because it's like they were trying to do something new with Clausewitz. They were reaching into a design space that they really hadn't explored as a studio before, and I think it came out rougher than some of their other games because of that, and I feel like they've learned a lot, and I feel like Stellaris 2 would be a much better game on just about every level if they wanted to make it. So.
More than likely. I still think, there's a lot of things that maybe Stellaris can do before they have to jump to number 2.
It also still needs
there's room.
Sort of more diplomacy. Like, they added a whole bunch, but I don't know. It feels like it needs more still. I
want stealth. I want to be able to get a stealth ship and fly it into my enemy's space. They can't see it and just, so espionage.
We have espionage in EU4. We have espionage in Hoi 4. We basically have it in CK3 now with the, being able to do all your hostile plots.
I think I've mentioned this before on this podcast, but there was a Civilization 4 mod that was set in space, and there was a stealth ship you can get on that, which had hidden nationality, and it was invisible. And if you ever played that multiplayer, it was an absolute nightmare because it would just turn up out of nowhere and destroy everything you had. So basically, I want to see that in Stellaris because I want to annoy all my friends.
Destroy all my shit. 2020, that's great.
But
for game balance things, they probably put a factor on it. Like if you put that stealth field on it, it uses up too much power, and so you only have the most basic of weapons.
Yeah,
like level 1 lasers.
I'm going to sound really nerdy now. It's going to be like for Romulans, right? Where, if their firepower wasn't as good, I guess, but also, we had the stealth cloaking ability, and they couldn't fire when they were stealthed either. It'd be cool, right? Being with Romulans, turning up with your little stealth ships.
And if people want to go down there, but that's so unrealistic, you can't just hide a whole ship. Space really, really big. Like, space is really big. Yeah. You're not... The distances at which like space combat would realistically occur at, you could be staring right at him and not see him because space is really bloody big and it's black.
Well, and let's even just talk about realism here. We have aliens and we have nanobots, and
I agree, we do have aliens in realisticness.
And we have faster than light travel. There's no such thing as, what's it called? The relativity of time, where you're traveling through space, so it feels like a year for you, but it's really 100 years back on Earth.
Yeah, that's never going to be a part of Stellaris. It's impossible with the way that the game works. Not a chance.
Is a space opera. It's a space opera game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take it from other space opera, like science fi stories out there, we've got Star Wars, Star Trek, go towards books. We have like Honor Harrington. All of them have stealth technology for ships.
Yeah, I just think that stealth technology doesn't need to be, I turn my ship invisible, and more like, I am masking the emissions of my engines. Like, I am making it so that you cannot use like your radar technology to see me. Like,
put a little silencer things on the end of your lasers.
I have launched a drone to get captured inside the orbit of a planet in your system that just watches you using, no engines, no output at all. It just watches you as it orbits at some planet or moon or something, and you can't see because it's so bloody small. Oh, there's so many possibilities.
Probes would be amazing. I want to make a probe, but like I can launch it to space, but teaches Picard how to play the flute. That's what I want in Stellaris, and it's complete.
Okay.
Well, speaking of a game that seems to be getting near completion, we do have an EU4 dev diary today.
Yeah, very true. We do.
Yeah, so it's the last content-related dev diary about the next update, and it's focusing on the few nations we haven't heard much about in Southeast Asia yet. Lanjiang, I think, and Sunda, which the land of a million elephants is one of their missions, which I like that. I think that's a good number of elephants. I think it's a quality number of elephants.
I think they should add elephants as a trade good, so you can...
They've already got ivory.
Oh, that's true, actually, yeah.
That
should be a focus for the mission trees, like be trading in ivory.
What I will say is that it's literally unplayable. Like, this is literally unplayable. Not only because we can't play it yet, but because look at the spelling of emerald on Steal the Emerald Buddha. I'm sorry, I've pointed it out, and now you can't unsee
the Emerald Buddha. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I do like that they have this dual mechanic at the beginning of the game. The Vietnamese missions, but also the Lanjiang missions. Whoever takes Muang Phuan first gets a subjugation CB on the other side. So that's kind of cool. So it's like a race to see who can conquer it first. I like that. I like the tolerance of folk religions as an estate thing. That's really cool. Yeah. Anything else that stuck out to any of you about this one?
No, still waiting on the unique mechanics. That's why I'm.
Yeah.
It's a bit like southeast for you, isn't it? You prefer just a little bit north, a little bit east in the Tibet region.
Yeah, it's true. Well, in this time period, it's all about China, right? And I only like Tibet and CK2 because it's just closest to China anyway. I want an imperator to be able to reclaim the mandate of heaven. That'd be great. I can't wait for the inevitable China DLC in CK2 too. I mean, that edge of a map looks right.
CK3, yeah.
CK3. I keep saying CK2. It's like, is it Pavlovian? Yeah. I don't know.
It's automatic. There's always when you're really used to calling something a certain thing, there has to be a grace period of adjustment when it changes, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
as I said on Twitter.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, not relevant to my life at all, but yeah. So,
well, people will still be using like the code name that they use for your development for a while, like they did. With
yeah. There was an internal code name for this for a long time. Yeah. So yeah, it seems like they're keeping the actual mechanics close to the chest, and we kind of talked last week about there was a line about we're not sure what's going to make it in or not. Because I think this was like mostly Neon DT, who is a content designer working on this update while everyone else was on summer vacation. And I don't know like how much the coders are going to be able to implement before they ship it. So that is probably why I think they haven't told us much about new mechanics yet. But we'll see, I guess.
Have you seen the Siamese ideas? They're at the bottom there. They're really good. Really, really good. They get morale, manpower modifier, discipline. Yeah. They get tech cost, yearly absolutism, diplo annexation cost, development cost, diplo reputation. Mm-hmm. Their idea set is like it's like top 10. It's really good.
It is, yeah.
I love that they have consider Islam and sea cucumbers. The contrast between those two things, like one of them is such this big weighty like metaphysical decision, the other one's just like we're gonna grab some things from the bottom of the ocean and sell them.
Such big ideas like that, it should be either or. You should not be able to select both of those things.
Yeah. Sea cucumbers are mutually exclusive with converting to Islam.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Why not?
Maybe they're unclean to eat.
Sea cucumbers join pork in a list of haram foods. Can you eat sea cucumbers? Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what a sea cucumber is. Is it like a normal cucumber? Just comes from the sea?
Please let us know if sea cucumbers are halal or not.
Yeah, we need. This is very much necessary information.
Here you go, Lambert.
yeah,
Stream, just for you, there is a sea cucumber.
Oh, that's not edible. That's not fucking edible. Oh, God, no.
There it is.
Don't knock it till you try it. Not
Oh
that
my
I've
God,
tried
it is
but-
edible. No.
Yeah.
I've seen them for sale
eat
at
them,
seafood markets
good.
in Korea.
Hey, never knock till you try it. You never know. Half these things
Right,
look
right.
absolutely awful, but man, when you try it,
I will
sometimes
agree
very
to
nice.
not knock it, but I sure as shit ain't trying it.
See, there you go. You
Okay.
can get some. Here you go, a Japanese market right next to the squid.
Oh, yeah.
There we
That
go.
other very edible food that I'm never touching. Gotcha.
We have to get Adaway
Oh,
on
these
the show.
ones. There you go.
Because
The Korean
Adaway-
ones.
Adaway is
No,
like
that
one
would-
of the nicest people I've ever met, but also one of the pickiest eaters I've ever met. Also, so
See, you know, I'm like all about that. Like, I really want to go to like somewhere in East Asia and just like go around to the street markets and try all of the like least familiar foods that I could find. That sounds
Yeah.
like a really fun
What's
time to me.
really fun is you
but,
go
probably not to
to
everybody.
a seafood market in Busan or any of the other coastal towns, and they usually have a building there with restaurants, and you just walk in and you point to the fish you want in the tank or whatever seafood creature. They pull it up and they either chop it up and give it to you as sashimi, or they cook it for you however you want. And then they also sell like sodas and alcohol for you to have with the seafood.
Huh.
And you're just sitting on
I'm here for
yeah,
it.
I'm sold.
plastic tables.
I love doing that.
Plastic stools surrounded by the sounds of water running from all the fish.
I feel
pretty
like
cool.
you may need to move away from this particular image before we get stricken, because some of those
Oh, yeah.
some of those
Content
look
ID.
slightly suspect.
I
Yeah,
can promise
I don't know if the
and they're quite alive in there in those bowls at the seafood
Oh,
markets.
wow.
Yeah, there's little octopi too. I actually saw one escape its container and try and walk across before it got captured again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do similar things in China too. Like, you know,
yeah.
although recently it's been in the news for all the wrong reasons. But if you ever go to like a Chinese wet market or something, it's great food. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd want to do that right now. But
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe in a year or two.
give it a little while, I think.
Well, anyway, our main topic today is obviously going to be Crusader Kings 3. And I kind of just want to turn it over to you guys. I want to hear how you've been feeling about the game. I want to hear your most exciting stories. You know, we're all excited about it. I think a lot of the people in chat have played at this point. So if you guys want to bring up anything cool that's happened in your campaigns, let's just have like a Crusader Kings 3 hype fest, I guess.
Nah, nothing interesting at all. It's dead game, right? Isn't it?
And I knew I would like this mechanic going into CK3, but I've been blown away about how much I like the mechanic, which is stress. Right? Stress
Stress is good.
is fundamentally one of the best things in CK3. It makes
Stress and hooks, I think, are the best core mechanical
Yeah.
additions.
On the
it's
topic of
secrets,
stress, it perfectly encapsulates what being a parent is. Because if you want to teach your own kids, it's gonna give you a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
This is the most accurate mechanic in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it is
me.
like a really real consideration that, like, if you want to educate all of your own kids, well, there is still a limit on how many wars you can have. You can do that, but if you don't want them to grow up to be monsters, you're going to be putting a lot of wear and tear on yourself.
Yeah, I don't do it. I just find someone else in my court. My wife, yep, she'll do. Right, you can teach my kids. I ain't touching that. I'm going to war.
Yeah.
I usually teach the air.
Yeah,
stressful.
yeah, like the air and the second in line. I usually try to teach them myself. Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I have a great story that happened on the pre-release stream of mine where I was hasting and I went to North Africa and took it over and rebuilt Carthage.
Nice.
And I let chat vote. And I asked, where do we invade afterwards with the son of Hastin? And they said, do Valencia, so Iberia, right, against the Umayyads. And I declared the war despite them being stronger. And I gotta tell you, we could have won it, but we didn't. And everything went way worse than just not winning. 4 of my, I think, 6 sons died in the battles of Iberia. and my character got depression, and then it was all over. It was a complete but absolutely beautiful disaster. It was really the how do you say the epitome? Is that the word?
Epitome.
It was really the epitome of the stress system taking hold of your character because a disaster really struck them. I really loved that.
In my game today, I was playing as Alfred the Great, and I was trying to get an heir for so long. Like I only had 3 daughters, and I was like, okay, look, wife, there's not a whole lot of time left before I'm going to have to divorce you and find someone else. I like you. You've got amazing stats. You're literally my lover in the game. Can we please have a kid? And she got pregnant while I was at war with Jorvik, and it was a son. But she died in childbirth, and it was legitimately crushing. Like for me personally, like I think the role play of the game has increased so much over CK2. Like I'm living this world. I'm really enjoying getting into the role play of it. And it was just like, oh, my wife's dead, but I got a son. But was it worth it? It felt awful.
Do you know what gets me the most is the event when you have a sickly child, and the text on the button reads, "Oh no, please, Matilda, don't cry, little one."
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a parent, it's just
Yeah. I think I've said those exact words. Yeah.
It's so hard. Yeah.
It hits you right in the feels.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be okay. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, it sucks like in the feels, but like it works for the game. Like it's. I'm not saying the game sucks for having that. Yeah, it has the feels for these kind of events. Like I said, just the role play is just really ramped up. It's great.
I think what really makes that is that stress mechanic, because in CK2 you had many of these elements, but they were all really disjointed. Sometimes your kid would die and your character was like, who?
Yeah.
Somebody died, I never heard of him. I think the problem of CK2 in that regard was that they simply didn't tie them together. I don't know, I'm not saying, I feel like they just couldn't because they were added in so many DLC. We didn't even have proper ambitions early on. And in CK3, they built the entire thing around the idea we need to connect all of the roleplay mechanics. I think they did an absolutely tremendous job right there.
Agreed.
Oh, definitely
agree there.
And especially the adding in of lifestyles. It kind of gives your character a sort of a path, a goal in life, and you can totally ignore it too, I suppose. But I guess I think that's the strongest part of the roleplay for me is adding in what the lifestyles allow you to do. Like you're playing diplomatic and you become a matron. What's it called? The mother trait where you get a bunch more fertility. I guess dudes can get it too, but you can befriend people and every friend makes you lose stress more, but then you get stressed when all your friends die.
Yes. Very much a double-edged sword there. It's the one where you the event where you outlive your kids as well. That one's pretty tough. I say
yeah. I had one battle where like 4 of my kids died in the same battle, and my ruler just completely lost it. Like the fact that knights kind of give you this potential where like your entire family and court can be upset just because of like one battle. Even if you won, like you could lose like 5 or 6 important people. Like it feels like almost like an Agincourt situation where it's like nothing's ever going to be the same again. Mm-hmm. And it's really sad, but also I really like games that make me sad.
Yeah. So. The knights, I think, are one of the other than stress, I think knights being, actual characters are one of my favorite parts of CK3. Because you've got this mechanic where you've got all of these important people who can be vassals, who can be court members, and they're put in pretty mortal danger. you weren't getting that in CK2. You could have generals like 3 per battle. Oh, actually, no, you could have them in your
have more.
commanders. That was micro as hell. That no one ever did that.
Well, no, you did it when you had less troops than the other guy, but you had really good commanders because it could turn battle.
I never did it then.
No.
But even then, your generals weren't as much in peril in that game as they are in this one. Because even when you are if your army is much stronger than theirs, if it's still one where it's a big battle and it'll go on for a while, if they have commanders with high prowess, you could still lose your dudes. Even if you crush them, you can still lose badly. I think one of the reasons that I won the third war for Suffolk against Lothringia is that I just kept fighting against them. Even though I knew I'd lose the battles, I kept fighting again and again and again, and eventually they just ran out of good prowess characters to lead their armies because mine were just better.
I think also like the military in general has a lot more strategic view or even tactical view now, right? Because I found myself, I'm taking fights in good terrain. I factor in that a lot more than I would in CK2.
Yeah.
And also supply. Like I was in a situation where my troops were pretty much evenly matched with an enemy when I was in Byzantium. And I was watching their supply fall down while I sat on my forts. And then I would when it was really low, I would strike then, right? Because he would give a huge tactical advantage. Yeah. So you start to think about these a lot more than you would in, CK2, right? I do personally anyway. I don't know about you folks.
I think in CK2, the systems themselves were not bad, but you didn't need most of them to do whatever you wanted to do. And that led to the situation where most people had, I made a video where I mentioned that sub-commanders exist, and most people were like, what the hell are you talking about? And I feel like they really took a long look at what existed in Crusader Kings 2 and was just so hidden away that nobody ever looked at it. For example, when you build up your normal levies in CK2, you can do that via building up buildings, but it's all just, nobody's building a building and is excited for 40 more heavy infantry.
Yeah.
But the idea of that is good, right? The idea to say, okay, you can strengthen that particular unit, you get more of those are good. And I think what they did with the CK3 system is they really just looked at everything, even if it was hidden from people or people didn't use it, and said, and now let's put that into a format where it's all visible. Because if it's visible, then people will feel much more in power over their armies. How good their knights are. When you go down the gallantry, you get I think it's 75% additional knight effectiveness and then +4 knights as well. It's huge. It changes wars. You can defeat armies significantly larger than yours. And you could also already do that in CK2, but nobody knew about it. So I think what they did is they really turned the system around to where it's all right in your face and you have direct influence.
Yeah.
I love that you don't have to have a freaking PhD in the CK2 wiki anymore to understand how battles work. Like, what conditions do I need to maximize my chances of rolling a good tactic? Like, it was all so hidden and incomprehensible, and I bet 99.9% of players had no idea how it worked.
Yeah,
it was easier to just make sure you had someone with high martial leading, and you had larger number diplomacy. And don't attack someone in the mountains.
Or across the strait.
Speaking of straits, I find it really cool and interesting how when you have your army highlighted, it shows up on the map where the straits are and where bridges are on major rivers.
Yes. Oh,
so
God.
You can't just cross them anywhere anymore.
Mm-hmm. Especially on the Nile. The Nile's really interesting because there's only a few crossing points as you're fighting up and down there.
I admit I haven't fought on the Nile yet. I've mostly been focused on Scandinavia and the British Isles.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I love the battle.
Oh, the Egypt is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll be there when I conquer them for the glory of the Roman Empire.
No, I started in Darfur and I reformed the Kushite religion, which is the last surviving branch of the ancient Egyptian religion, and took back the Nile for the old gods of Duat. They also have Siwa in there, as you can see, if you've played Assassin's Creed Origins. That's a really fun campaign. It's also my favorite Imperator campaign was taking over Egypt as Kush.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Really cool. Is down here they did the same thing they did with Imperator. You got these corridors of land.
Yeah.
Right.
It's playable and then all the impassable terrain.
Especially as you're going through the Sahara too, you get huge corridors between oasis towns. And I'm really excited to see what those oasis towns will be like when they implement, trade of some kind.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of this weird. I described it as like a spaghetti mess. Like the de jure kingdom of Sahara is kind of weird, but also it's like I think they need nomads to really make that area pop. Yeah. Like they need the Tuareg nomads, and we'll probably get that eventually. So
yeah, for sure. To go back to military a moment, the thing I absolutely adore is when you've won a battle, it's not going to just pop up the battle end screen in the middle of your screen, because sometimes you don't need to look at it, because sometimes the battle is just a walkover StarCraft. It's not too important. But if you do want to take the time and look at it, you get the little pop-up in the top of the screen, and you can bring it down. You can see exactly how many men from your levies were killed and how many they killed themselves. All of your men at arms, you can see their kills and losses. But then if you go into the knights and then looking at the events, they are so fun. Because firstly, you can see exactly how many people each of your characters has killed, which... when you're fighting as Jorvik against, I think it was against Lotharingia, again, I had, no, it wasn't against Lotharingia, but I don't remember who it was against. It was Ubba, Halfdan Fitzurk, his brother, one of the sons of Ragnar. He got maimed in a previous battle, like a week beforehand, and I marched my army over and I attacked someone else, and Ubba, while maimed, got 170-something kills. And that just felt amazing. That guy was a tank. And then he died like 2 weeks later from his injuries. But he was a tank. And then seeing all the events like, your character ripped the head off of another character and became a berserker. Okay, then. I'm all in.
So, OPB, you've had this game longer than the rest of us. What?
Maybe.
Well, we know your videos were coming out before.
Right.
Your lovely tutorials. What was your favorite story so far? Like your favorite character or event story.
I actually really enjoyed playing as... So I did the tutorial where I talked, I think, about succession, right? With Alfred II. Mm-hmm. And Alfred II was... a real bastard, because it turned out he liked eating human meat and all that stuff.
That's fine.
And essentially in his entire life, right? So the first life with Alfred the Great, obviously, I also was in the situation where I was fighting the Vikings, and I actually lost about a generation. After the war was over and we won, every one of my vassals was a child. They all died in combat. It was crazy how many battles it was and how hard fought it was. It was really, really interesting. But afterwards, the realm was stable and I didn't really blob anymore. I just focused on vassal management. And my favorite story about that, really, when it comes down to it, was just that I had a couple of rivals that just really hated me. And I just started to, seduce their wives to make it so that they're my best friend. And, that's where I started to gathering hooks everywhere, because I got access to the courts and got a couple of secrets from them as well. So my favorite story, surprisingly to myself as well, isn't actually one of like glory or heroism. It's actually that I had an entire lifetime of me just interacting with my vassals, changing their feudal contracts via hooks, making it so that they're terrified of me, sometimes eating people. I was blasted away. It was actually my second playthrough. The first one that I did was Eric the Heathen. But I was completely blown away by how much the game gave me to do, instead of just, okay, it's time to become the king of France. I was absolutely happy about that. That was, I think, the moment where I was like, yeah, this game is gonna be it. Like this is definitely getting out there.
Like, I don't normally min-max, but like if you're a min-max type player, it actually makes a ton of sense. As like a part of the life cycle of your kingdom is you want to have one ruler with really high intrigue, and like his goal or her goal for their entire lifetime is going to be I am going to dig up dirt or fabricate hooks on all of my vassals to make sure that they owe me all of their levies and all of their men. It's like a consolidation step, and you might not actually do any conquest during that character's lifetime, but you're just constantly like digging up dirt and blackmailing people so that the realm becomes more powerful than its size would suggest, and it's a really, really fun way to play.
I'd say for that kind of character, that kind of life would get you more power than a war-focused character ever could either.
Oh, almost certainly, yeah.
Also, what is it about West Francia taking Suffolk? Because it's done it in your time lapse as well. Stop taking Suffolk, it's so annoying.
Yeah, but
the
thing is, nobody wants Suffolk, so like, you know, it's like it's a blight upon West Francia, frankly.
I had a friend from Ipswich. I agree.
Upland did.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's the Vikings.
It's still blue.
Still unacceptable.
It is very unacceptable.
Northern Ireland.
Oh my god.
And there's Garthariki, like the freaking like Rurik just decided to like take a big bite out of Essex for some reason.
They also have Pomerania.
67.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there's a lot of Border Gore in 867. If you don't like Border Gore, I would actually say I recommend 1066.
Yeah,
well, unless you're trying to paint the map.
I reckon.
Meneth, I was actually just thinking that my PC must be better than Rose's because mine goes way faster than that on speed 5.
This is actually going slower than it was when I was playing it by itself, but
yeah,
I'm 30
also
second years.
And stuff.
So I'm quite happy with that. It took me 6 hours of recording to get my 1,000 year time lapse. So
yeah,
the game is really fast.
Yeah, OBS
on my new
is
processor, I can't even play on speed 5. It is unplayably fast.
Yeah.
OBS is using
this optimization
as much CPU as CK3 is right now.
All this optimization Riley did completely wasted on me because I play on speed 2 and maximum 3. I mean, 3 is like light speed for me when I play.
Well, I mean, it leaves room if they want to add all of East Asia eventually. Then maybe speed 5 will be playable.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean,
how do you all feel about the game speed?
Point out in my chat that this edge of the map and this edge are all smooth, and yet this edge is all ripped, sort of.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, they're not even trying to hide it. They're gonna add China. Come on.
It's like, oh look, you know what? The trailer for that announcement is gonna be somebody finding a piece of a map. Straight up, that's it.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That inevitability.
Oh, yeah. China. I mean, if they get imperial politics right, China will be amazing in this game.
Meneth just said there, the year 1067 takes 12 seconds on his machine. All right. That's impressive and all, but my jealousy is really high right now, and I'm afraid I can't compliment you on that because of my jealousy. No, that's incredible.
So, one of the most common questions I have gotten asked about CK3, both before it released and after, is there anything in particular that you really miss from CK2? Bavarian, did you have anything specifically like that?
No. Absolutely. So
there you go.
So, I played it every day, obviously, for like a really, really, really long time. And when I look at CK3, I really appreciate the way that they sat down and said, we're going to rip out everything that doesn't work and we're going to make everything else better. And that's how we're going to move forward. If, obviously, okay, I would like trade and whatnot to be in, but when we're talking about, do I miss what was in Crusader Kings 2? I would be unhappy if we had, for example, merchant republics in CK3 the way or very similar they were in CK2. That's essentially how I feel about practically all topics that were ripped out. It was all for the better as far as I'm concerned.
There are a few things which I know are going to be coming in the future, but I wish was more on launch. But it's obviously not a huge game killer for me, but more different ethnicities, because there's mainly 4 groups at the moment, right? There's just white Europeans, Indians, are separate to Arabs. 5 then. And then you get the steppe people, Tibetans, Chinese, sort of Asian, East Asian.
Yeah.
And then African, but I want more.
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah, there's I mean the genetic variation with like faces and stuff is actually pretty awesome, but yeah, the clothing sets, I think there's only like 5 or 6 of them. And same with like the backgrounds, like African pagans like use a Norse like long haul like background or something. So
yeah,
clothes and backdrops could definitely use more variety, I think.
And I think also like one of the problems with culture, I guess, too, is since the culture has got a set ethnicity, where you don't really get that sort of melting pot, over time that I would have liked more of. For example, if you
I disagree with that. I very much disagree with that. If you have say you start in the Byzantine Empire and you conquer North Africa, because you start a war with them in the 867 start. If you have characters that are breeding between the two cultures, you definitely get a mix with their offspring.
Yeah, but I think generally in your courts, I found that I conquered a lot as the Turks, I guess, and the Turks still looked like East Asians, right? Which I know felt a little odd to me because by that point the Seljuks had been in Persia, and
the generated characters don't adapt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it'd be hard to think of a way that you could actually implement something like that.
Mm-hmm. All right,
without having more melting pot cultures, possibly maybe having Turkish be a melting pot culture, because I guess Turkish did change a hell of a lot. Well, after the Seljuks conquered Persia, and also changed a hell of a lot once they conquered Anatolia again. Yeah, I guess. And clothing. More clothes.
I will say, like, the only thing I massively miss, I disagree with you on the Merchant Republics, because I think they're one of the most fun ways to play CK2, personally. The thing I miss the most, though, that isn't in CK3 has already been confirmed to come in a free update later, and that's Ruler Designer. Mm-hmm. I think with CK2, like 80-90% of all of my campaigns started with a custom ruler. Yeah. And yeah, I miss that because I want my, if I'm starting in Germany, I want my Lambrecht. If I'm starting in Italy, it'd be my Lambertini. I want that back. I know I can get it.
What kind of alcohol goes into a Lambertini?
A bit of everything, really. Just mostly cider, but then you spike it with a bit of beer.
There's also
I think there is a Lambertino. I think in my Duchess Matilda video, I had a little pop-up saying Lambertino died. And I just had to stop and go, oh, we lost Lambert. What will the podcast do now?
There is Lambertini. I'm pretty sure that is a thing.
Oh, yeah, no, there's totally Lamberts in the game.
Yeah. There's a Lambertini, right, which is a really awful white wine that is cheap as dirt, and you can drink it by the bucket load because it costs
my in-laws bought me that for our wedding, a Lambertini. Yeah, but they put a sticker over the final I. I literally have that in my cupboard, and yes, it does taste like arse.
It's alcoholic vinegar, but worse than that, right? You can get a knockoff Lambertini called Lambrechini, which is even cheaper and even more vinegary.
A Lamborghini.
We can go trashier.
Lambretini, I think it was called.
Which, by the way, speaking of East Asia, I want to point out Ella in the chat is here. Ella is here in the chat, has said that if you actually look in the game files, the province map goes way further east than what we see, and that you can kind of see Sumatra if you zoom in far enough.
Going to look.
There's going to be an East Asia expansion. Come on.
And Ella here is one of the people working on the Game of Thrones mod for Crusader Kings 3, which actually had one of their first dev diary.
I just wonder how far it will go. Do you think we'll get as far as Japan? Do you think? Or
I would love to see it go to Japan. Like if they had China and not Japan, I would be moderately disappointed because Japan in this era would be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think the gameplay certainly would suit Japan quite a lot, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the few areas outside of Europe where it would actually make sense to have a quote unquote feudal system. So
I just looked it up, and yes, you can absolutely see Sumatra. And the size of the image, where the border of the image is, there's a whole lot of black space that looks like it's just been painted over with a brush in paint.
Send that over to Rose. We'll get it up on stream. I think that'll be
very suspect.
Yeah, no. When they announce the East Asia expansion, my reaction is just going to be like, "Oh wow, really? Word! I can't believe it."
I never expected this.
I don't think they're trying to hide it. I think they're not allowed to announce it, but I don't think they're trying to hide it.
We've got Meneth and Black Ninja in chat, and they're just probably sat on their hands going, "Nope, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything."
They're just
I think they've
doing
left
the
chat
speak
right about
no
now.
evil. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the image can fit China in, right?
Yes,
Easily.
Yeah, well,
getting it up on stream.
Crusader
now.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's in the game files. So,
and that's how
Okay,
big
wait,
it is as well. Like the image goes on for a bit after, so
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like the image just ends right where like the black starts.
Look, you've got the major rivers of China already in it, so it's like,
Where do those rivers go? Let's follow them.
yeah. I wonder.
Well,
Yeah.
we have Captain
Yeah.
Windwalker in chat just saying it's just the Black Death approaching. That's all.
Oh god, yeah. That's gonna be a thing, isn't it? Actually, I haven't
the
actually
plague
reached to the
is in
point
game.
where
I had that go through and stomp through my court once, murder a whole bunch of my kids.
I haven't actually seen it yet.
yeah, I've only played far enough to actually see the Black Death pop up once, and yeah.
Rosebud's awake, by the way. That was him.
Hey.
Hello. Well, I don't want to keep everyone too long because I'm sure everybody wants to get back to playing Crusader Kings 3 if they're not already playing it while they're listening to us right now. But did anybody have any final thoughts about these first... I guess it's the first few days of release. We've all had it a bit longer than that. Just how you're feeling or any other cool stories?
The game rules need to remember you.
Yeah.
Close and start a new
Big
game.
time, yeah.
Yeah, I really want that thing from CK2 back where you could save multiple sets of game rules.
Yeah, well, I'd have a preset called "This is going on YouTube," so please turn off nudity.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Discord has a stream safe mode. They need to add one of those for CK3 that just turns on automatically if you have OBS running.
See, you know how I said before the stream started that I really don't like editing? Yeah, no, doesn't matter because I started my game with nudity turned on and there's an Adamite invasion.
Adamite invasion.
It's like, oh, I can't look at this character, can I? Oh, you've got a wife. Definitely not looking at her either.
The Naked Crusade.
Yeah. Speaking of Crusades and also, Crusader Kings 3, one of the things I really, really want to do is a Roman Empire run. I'm not going to call it Byzantine Empire. Don't even try. A Roman Empire run where I flip Hellenic and to convert to Hellenic without any of the bonuses you can get from being a prophet and whatever is like 128,000 piety. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to find a way to do it.
You need to come over and conquer Baghdad before you do, because look what the House of Wisdom gives you.
Yeah, that was my game plan. Like, go to the House of Wisdom, become a prophet, and also I think if you convert to a pagan, you get about 500.
I think the plan is probably going to be something like get my heir converted by making him a ward of a pagan. So that removes that negative 100 or 200% or whatever it is. Get the House of Baghdad or House of Learning in Baghdad and become a prophet. Try and become cynical while still having a ton of piety. That's going to be rough. but I will, like, before CK4 comes out, I will have restored the Roman Empire as a Hellenic faith. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna hurt my soul making it happen.
Good luck.
Look, you wouldn't have put it in the game if it wasn't gonna be doable.
there is a thing in the game files for if you have a Hellenic. There's like unique events if you're a Hellenic.
I thought they said there wasn't.
Yeah, I think it's. It might be if you're Hellenic and you take the learning focus or the theology focus, but I'm not actually sure.
No, not to convert now. This is if you're already Hellenic. You get like the Christians get a unique event and stuff. In fact, the little hash comment text is like Christians have gone wild or something because Hellenics have conquered Rome. So there is stuff.
Please explain when you do and how you do it. There's a demand. I'm going to try. The cost, even with all the discounts, is truly massive. Yeah, I know. I'm still going to try it, though.
Bavarian, did you have any final thoughts or other stories you wanted to share?
Can I be the one that says a couple of negative things about CK3?
Absolutely not. No, go ahead.
So I mentioned that elsewhere as well. There's the image of the Seljuks that is about like where I have one of my bigger problems, because like it's the two of them work together. So the Seljuks, since they're polygamous, they have a lot of wives each. And when they start out in 1066, they have a lot of land, meaning all of them get married and then they splinter because of Confederate partition. And all of those also get married. So they end up with a total of like 5,000 family members and 1,500 living. The renown is out of this world, and it frustrates me because the Emperor of France here gets 4.8 renown in comparison. It's one of those things where it's like that doesn't work as I would like to see it. But the other problem between these two that where I'm mostly focused on is that I really wish the Byzantine Empire and the Seljuks were just, for example, like the way the Magyar migration is done, right? Where you get that decision that you can take at any point, and then you get this CB that is unique and you can use it to go into the Pannonian Basin. I wish that was sort of more in the interaction there between the two, because they're just so calm and quiet, and they blob everywhere else, but they just sit at the border and are like, why would we fight? Those are like my two biggest complaints, I think. But beyond that, nothing negative. A lot of great stories, of course, but I really am very amazed by the game. It's an absolutely outstanding game.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say it is their best release ever.
Yes, definitely.
Especially
Easily.
for a 1.0. Like,
yeah, it's amazing.
Holy crap, yeah. I don't really like rally points. I've been talking to Meneth on Discord, and he's kind of trying to help me understand what I'm doing wrong with them. So maybe I'll change that opinion once I've had a little bit more experience. But I do think the way you raise levies and men-at-arms is a little weird. I'd like to have a little bit more fine control over it, maybe. That's probably one of my only big negatives.
I think
I think the UI can get a little bit claustrophobic since it shoves everything around instead of covering things up. Those are my two.
There's also the fact that when you're being raided, you can't raise up your troops like you could in CK2. But you can move your rally point and raise them up somewhere else.
I think the biggest thing with rally points that I've seen is with York or Jorvik or whatever you want to call it with your culture or whatever. That was my capital, and when being at war, the AI really, really likes to go for your capital. And Jorvik being so close to the coast, they really, really like going onto the boats, getting off the boats, and then going to Jorvik. The thing is that the time between them being locked into moving into Jorvik and the amount of time it takes me to raise my entire force in Jorvik is around about the same time. So they've got this -30 naval landing penalty right as I raise my entire force in York, and I crush them. So it's something.
I've heard that quite a bit, but I've also seen in that when I played Bohemia and when I had a civil war going on, I actually got baited by the AI, as silly as it sounds, but in CK2, I was the one, you split your army, right? You position them next to each other, and then you say, hey, AI, would you like to walk into me? And then you combine them. That's how I played Warfare in CK2. In CK3, they were sieging my holding, and I was like, I can take them on that holding, because, well, I will be the defender. So I walked into them, and they actually got an army ready as I started walking to intercept me in planes, so that they wouldn't have to fight on the hilly thing to fight, in the attacker position. And I got completely destroyed. I was in complete disbelief that I got completely baited by the AI. That was very impressive to me.
Oops. Oh yeah, achievements are broken, which we had someone mention. Any achievement that says starting as soon as your starting character dies and you close the game, when you reload it, the achievement's no longer possible.
Yeah. So you better.
Are you all amazed that 20% have an achievement? Like so many people playing in Iron Man?
I have none achievements.
22% have married an Iron Man. I haven't even done Iron Man, I'll admit it. Well, it's pretty impressive to me. I thought it would be fewer.
Yeah, now it's out. I don't think I'll play anything other than multiplayer.
You're going to have to play Iron Man just for your Roman run.
No, I know, I will. Don't worry, that's happening. It's going to happen. I think, though, for Restore the Roman Empire, I will probably wait until the inevitable Byzantine government is released, because otherwise I'm going to have to do it twice.
Something that I really like about it, something we've touched on actually, is decreased number of traits that each character has. I was a little bit worried at the start, but now I think it's far more easier just to read your character and, read other characters and just make an assessment of what that character is going to be like, and your mind fills in the blanks, right?
Yeah, strangely enough, giving them less characteristics gives them more character.
Yeah, yes. No, I fully agree, right? So, I remember I was playing a game yesterday, actually, and I had, 2 sons. One was, he had 3 good traits. Everyone had 3 bad traits, but it allowed me in my brain to imagine I've got a good brother and his evil brother. In reality, you basically had 2 bad traits. I mean, everyone had 2 good traits, but, in your head, you make a story much bigger than those traits would really give you in CK2, right?
I'm
They're much more defining than 10 traits in CK2 that you forgot right after looking at.
Absolutely, yes. And would change too, I mean, at least with these ones, they're pretty much permanent, right?
Yeah, those 3 are permanent.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they do the ruler designer. So obviously they're probably not going to let us just pick all the best ones. Are they going to do a point buy system, or are we going to roll for them standard array? What are we doing here?
I'd be fine with free for all, to be honest. With the ruler design, I'm really looking forward to it. It feels, when Warhammer Total War 2 came out, and Mortal Empires wasn't in it.
Yeah,
everyone knew it was coming around the corner. That's how it feels with Rumour Design of me at the moment. It's
definitely.
So it's,
Speaking of Warhammer, I can't wait for Timeless Next.
Yes, which is definitely being made, and I believe is also, I think a version of the mod's just been released yesterday
for CK2.
Yeah. For CK2, again, we haven't advertised it. They needed to push that mod more. This is such a great mod, but it doesn't get the recognition it deserves.
Let's see.
Yeah, I was astounded by the mods that were already out on day one. There's a Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages mod already. There's the Bronze Age mod from Imperator is out already in CK3.
He's had the game for a few months now. He made an announcement on his Discord about it.
Yeah, give it.
I mean, it's so smart. It's a huge, it was a huge win for Paradox that they gave these modders access to this so early, so they could have stuff ready to go.
I think it's also kind of an own goal in Bronze Age's case, because let's be fair, Imperator is kind of ailing, and you've just poached their biggest mod.
Just make Imperator as a mod for CK3. If we can solve this 2 birds with one stone.
Here's one for brighter portraits.
Yeah, that's nice too. I
do legitimately think that just basically CK3, but in the Roman era, would be a game I would enjoy more than what Imperator currently is. But,
Ditto.
I think just to put a pin in this before, so I can move on. With the Bronze Age mod, I think I need to clarify, if the modders had wanted to, move to CK3, absolutely no problem. It's their mod. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. Absolutely. I think though that's definitely not what happened that's not the order in which it happened here. Like it's obvious that like Paradox has said, here, make the mod for this instead. And it doesn't feel great. It feels like you're stabbing your other game in the back. I don't know.
I mean, they could have said no, right?
They could have said no, but at the same time, like, you wouldn't. Like, if you want to make the game for CK3, then absolutely you would do that. Like, after it's released.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like Paradox is stabbing their own game in the back.
I can see that sentiment for sure. I don't know whether I agree unless there was a gun in play.
Yeah, I don't know
whether I agree.
We have Black Ninja.
Yeah.
Guys, we have Black Ninja in chat saying they added various modders to the beta based on their applications. So the modders had to apply for it.
Oh, then fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then fair enough.
I will say it does. You know what was said earlier. I will say that it does feel pretty rough because I'm 90% sure there is an Imperator style mod going to happen for CK3, and I'm pretty sure that that's gonna have some rough publicity attached to it. Like that's not gonna go over smooth. Oh, look at that! Modders made a better game. I think that's gonna be quite rough when that happens.
See, the funny thing is, I went before Imperator came out. I honestly thought that it was going to be the death of EU4 because there was going to be an EU4 era mod for Imperator. And why would you play EU4 when you can just play the EU4 mod for Imperator? It's got pops. It doesn't have mana. It's got characters. What is there left in EU4? But obviously things didn't turn out the way I thought they were.
Someday we will have a mod or a game with a really good character system and a really good pop system, and then none of us will ever have to go outside again. when they finally fit both of those things into a single game.
It will happen the same day that Victoria 3 comes out.
OPB.
Maybe it will be Victoria 3, although the Victorian area would be weird to make a character-focused game on, but I don't know.
Oh my god. You roleplay Rudyard Kipling or something like
Well, Bavarian, since you're our guest, why don't you start? Let us know what you've been up to on your various channels and where people can find it.
I'm One Proud Bavarian. I'm on YouTube, and I will do a lot of CK3 content, be that from actual playthroughs, from streams, but also, of course, some tutorials, some looking into the future. All of that is in the works. Today I was fighting my computer, but tomorrow I should be able to produce that, and that is on YouTube. One Proud Bavarian.
Excellent. Lambert, what have you been up to?
I've been playing quite a bit of CK3, as one might imagine. I have a couple of time-lapse videos out for the game, looking at the world as the AI plays it from 867 to 1867, and another one from 1066 to the end date in 1453. I also have a what I consider my best release video, where I look at 8 different characters and do a time lapse from when they are 0 years old to when they die, and looking at at what they age like, I think is really fascinating. And that video hasn't done as well, and that's kind of sad because I think it's my best one so far. I've also got a campaign playing as Harald Fairhair of Norway, the first king of Norway, which has been a lot of fun so far. And I've also started streaming on twitch.tv instead of YouTube again. Only done a couple, maybe 3 streams there, and it's been absolutely fantastic so far. So for everyone who's followed me there, thank you. It's been great. And there's my socials.
Excellent. Rose, what about you? What have you been up to?
Playing a lot of Crusader Kings 3.
This is so shocking. I can't believe
streaming over here on Twitch. I'm going to do my best to stream 3 or 4 times a week with the little Rosebud. We'll make sure he cooperates. And then I've got YouTube videos going up with more CK3. A lot of achievement runs, but the fact that achievements are sort of broken with the starting as is limiting me a little bit at the moment. But hopefully that will be fixed. I also have a time-lapse video where the HRE almost died and then came back and conquered the world. It's quite glorious, actually. 1066 to 1453. That's it.
Yeah, Loris, what have you been up to?
Drawn a few comics, not as much as I would have liked. I drew a CK2 one, CK3 one even. I have another Humankind one up on Twitter if you want to see. They're still coming out every week. But yeah, I've been a bit poorly, so I haven't done that much work really. But hey ho, did some. Been worried I had COVID, but the thing is, all the symptoms for COVID, exactly the same symptoms of just smoking too many cigarettes. So who knows?
Yeah, I've definitely had days where I'm like, okay, am I coming down with something serious, or am I just exhausted because of like Crusader Kings stuff?
Exhausted because of life.
Have I lost my taste, or have I got a cough because I got COVID, or have I just been smoking 20 cigarettes a day for the last month? So like,
one
or the other.
So my channel is still Lore Sworn Order. We're kind of taking a little bit of a break from streaming this week, just because it's been a lot. But we'll be back very soon with some very cool CK3 stuff that I've had planned for a very long time. And people who like the really heavy, like narrative, nerdy, Len being a dork RP kind of stuff are, I think, going to really enjoy it. Also, still Asa TJ on Twitter, at least for the next couple months. I'll probably change that eventually, but I want to avoid confusion as much as possible. So, follow the show. We have episodes on YouTube now. It's weird. It's like the end of the world or something.
They're not cut up.
Thank you to Rose.
I've only got like 9 in the queue, or 9 up.
I've got a few.
We have some episodes. We have some episodes on YouTube with more to come, but also Twitch, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Twitter, all those places. NoCB Cast. Follow us. We've discussed a little bit in private, maybe doing some CK3 multiplayer on this channel at some point if the timing works out. So that's something we might be getting together at some point here. So until next week, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Bavarian, it's been a pleasure
guys.
to have you, and you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
of course, always.
Yes. I was very happy to be here, no problem.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it was a pleasure.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.